Part 1. Nothing down there is human. My name is Mojtaba, and for years, I told myself that what I saw that night wasn't real, that my mind was exhausted, that the mine was playing tricks on me, or that the darkness down there had finally gotten into my head. But every time I close my eyes, I see it again. And every time I hear 3 slow knocks, my entire body freezes. This happened in 1999 in an old salt mine near Garmsar, Iran, a place the locals called Chehel Cheshme, the 40 Eyes. They called it that because the ceiling was full of holes, dozens, maybe hundreds, small breaks where daylight poured in like scattered spotlights. But at night, those holes felt like eyes, watching, blinking, breathing. I worked the night shift with 2 other miners, Davood and our supervisor Javad. We were used to strange sounds, echoing drips, shifting salt walls, metal groans, all normal for a mine like that. But there was one place we never went near, Tunnel 5. It had collapsed years earlier, completely sealed. No way in, no way out. Everyone who'd been inside at the time either died instantly or suffocated before rescue arrived. Miners whispered that sometimes you could still hear things from behind that wall. Not voices, not animals, something else. Davood would always say, "Whatever crawls behind Tunnel 5's wall, it isn't human. Don't answer it if it knocks." I always laughed it off, until the night it knocked for me. Part 2. The knocking in the dark. It was around 2 a.m. We were sitting on overturned buckets, eating stale bread and cheese, resting for a few minutes before going deeper. The mine was dripping more than usual that night. Every sound echoed like it was alive. That's when I heard it. 3 knocks. Slow. Deep. The sound came from the collapsed entrance of Tunnel 5. I froze, staring at the darkness. Davood muttered under his breath, "Not again." But I tried to be brave, or stupid. I picked up a loose rock and tapped it against the wall next to me, hoping that whatever was making noise would get scared off. A second later, something answered. 3 knocks, much harder, much deeper. The entire mine vibrated. Dust fell from the ceiling. I felt the knocks inside my teeth. Javad stood up immediately. "That's it. Break time's over. We're going deeper, away from here." But I couldn't shake the feeling. Something was wrong. Something felt awake. I grabbed my flashlight, and like an idiot, I walked toward the collapsed tunnel. Davood whispered behind me, "Mojtaba, don't. Leave it. Just leave it." But I needed to see. I shined my flashlight across the ground and felt my stomach turn. There were footprints in the salt dust. Not boot prints, not animal tracks, human-shaped, but bigger than any human foot I had ever seen. And they led directly into the sealed, collapsed tunnel, as if something had walked inside and never came back out. My throat went dry. I raised the light higher, and that's when I saw the eyes. Part 3. The face in the ceiling. Above the mouth of Tunnel 5, hidden behind one of the broken ceiling holes, a face stared down at me. Not fully human, not fully anything. Just 2 pale, white, pupilless eyes floating in the darkness, not blinking, not moving, watching. My breath stopped in my chest. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Davood grabbed my shoulder hard. "Mojtaba, step back, slowly." But before I could move, a voice drifted out of that hole. Not a whisper, not a normal voice. It sounded like someone dragging metal across stone. shaped into words. Come down. My legs gave out. I stumbled backward, dropping my flashlight. Javad yelled, "Run! Everyone out, now!" We sprinted through the tunnels, slipping on wet salt, smashing our shoulders against the walls, not daring to look behind us. I could hear something following. Not footsteps. Something scraping, dragging. Something too tall to walk normally. Part 4. The thing that followed us out. We burst out of the mine entrance, choking on cold night air. Davoud collapsed to his knees. Javad was shaking so badly he couldn't hold his helmet. I turned to look behind us, but the mine entrance was dark and silent. No movement, no eyes, nothing. But then we heard it again. 3 knocks, from inside the tunnel, right near the entrance. Javad shouted at us not to look. "Don't respond to it. Don't even listen. Get away from here." We ran all the way to the guard post, locked ourselves inside until sunrise. When the safety team came to investigate, there were no footprints, no ceiling hole, no sign of any creature. And the collapsed entrance of Tunnel 5? Completely solid. No gaps, no air holes. No way anyone or anything could have been inside. But my smashed flashlight? It was bent in half, crushed, as if someone had squeezed it with a hand larger than any human's. I never returned to that mine. 3 weeks later, the mining company sealed Tunnel 5 for good. They claimed it was for safety reasons, but every man who worked there knew better. I quit the job the very next morning. Before leaving, I approached one of the older miners, a man who had worked in Chala Cheshme long before I joined. He rarely spoke, rarely smiled, rarely looked anyone in the eye. I asked him, "Tell me the truth. What happened in Tunnel 5? At first, he didn't answer. He just stared at the mouth of the mine, his breathing slow, as if he was remembering something he had spent years trying to forget. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "It wasn't always collapsed, but the last crew that went in, they came back missing a man. And the survivor said the darkness in that tunnel wasn't just dark. I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. I wanted to ask him more, to ask what he meant exactly, to ask what was inside that darkness. But he turned his back and walked away without another word. And that was it. To this day, I still don't know what I saw inside that mine. Maybe it was a jinn, maybe something older, maybe something trapped behind the collapsed salt wall, waiting for someone foolish enough to listen to it. All I know is this: if anyone ever reopens Tunnel 5, whatever comes out first won't be human."